We'll be going through step-by-step instructions on an overview of the table that you'll be using for your 10 key points documentation. So this is the same table that you'll be using for assignments for weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then again 8. So I wanted to kind of go over it with you so you felt a little more comfortable with what those expectations are. So I'm going to take just a second and I'm going to share my screen. So give me just 1 minute. All right. So on my monitor, you should be able to see the 10 strategic points. So what I have here for you today is a table, and it's the table that you're going to find in the instructions in the classroom, but this one has a little bit more succinct guidelines. So I'm going to go through each one of these 10 points with this column. So the first is the broad topic area. So when you're going through your assignments and you're reading whether the assignment calls for an article or if the assignment calls for a dissertation, you're going to go through and you're going to summarize for me right here just one sentence of what's the broad topic area of that article or that dissertation. Then here in the lit review section, it's going to be a bullet list, and you're going to have one sentence per bullet, and you're going to have 1 to 2 key in-text citations for each one, and make sure you cover A through D. So you're going to specifically put in here from the article that you're doing the 10 key points review on. You're going to put the background of the problem. You'll specifically state the gap in the research is, or the gap in the literature is, to say what the gap was that that article or that dissertation was addressing. And then B, you want to specifically call out what were the theoretical foundations that were used in that study. So the models of the theories to be the foundation of the study include the seminal authors and in-text citations for each one of those authors, and also any authors that are using it in current literature. And then in this literature section of your 10 key points, you're going to also put what is a review of the literature, so the key themes. So you're going to break it down by key themes. It's usually about 3 or 4, and keep it very, very simple. And then for D, give a quick summary. So this is just maybe 1 or 2 sentences that summarize this section of the literature review of that 10 key points. Okay? So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to this problem statement. So this describes the problem to be addressed through the study based on the defined need or gap from the literature, and it's a single sentence. So in most articles and dissertations, you'll find a specific sentence that says what is the problem that this study is addressing, and that's what I want you to copy and paste there. This next section is research questions. So here, normally in studies, they're going to definitely use R1, R2, whatever that may be. That's the formatting that I want you to get used to using in the table, because when you're writing your own dissertation, you're going to be using that to be in compliance with APA. So in this section, same thing, 2 bullets, 3 bullets, however many research questions there are, and copy and paste the research questions from whatever article or dissertation you've been assigned. Now, when you get to your original research, you're going to be creating or drafting your own research questions, and that's when you might need to be a little bit more creative, and you will definitely change them going forward, but I want to see that you have an understanding of how to write research questions based on what you've been reading. Now this next section is the sample. This one's very simple. You're going to have a bullet list that identifies location, population, target population, sample, and number of observations or number of participants. So that's all I want to see is just a bullet list with those items, and then copy and paste whatever or draft that from the article or dissertation that you're doing a 10 key points for. Now the next section is describe the phenomena if it's qualitative, or define both the variables and the hypothesis if it's quantitative. So depending on whether it's a quant or a qual study, you're going to do either a phenomena, which is 1 sentence, or you're going to copy and paste the variables, which is the independent and dependent variable, and also the hypothesis that they will list in the research. And then in the next section, you'll notice here that it says methodology and design, 2 sentences. 1 sentence, I specifically want you to say the methodologist of this study was, and you have two choices, quant or qual. And then the research design in the study was, and then you have, it could be correlational, causal comparative, it could be a case study, whatever the case may be, you want to have a specific sentence that tells me which design was used in that study. And that's it, just 2 sentences. Keep it nice and simple. Now in this next section, GCU has a very specific formula for writing a purpose statement. It's method, so whether it's quant or qual, design, correlational, case study, whatever the case may be, and then the problem statement, and then the population that's under the study, and location. So most studies will follow this exactly, especially when you're writing your own in week 6 and revising it in week 8. You're going to want to make sure that you're following that formula, and you will normally, especially in very well-written articles, you'll find the purpose statement and they'll very specifically call it out. Now, in these last 2 of the 10 key points, you have data collection and data analysis. So here, this is where you describe the primary instrument and sources of data to answer your research questions. I want to see a bullet list. So if you're doing, for example, a qualitative study and the design is case study, you're going to go to the methods section and the data collection section of that article or that dissertation, and you're going to specifically write out the key steps that the researcher used to collect their data. Same thing for data analysis. Let's say you're doing a quantitative study and they used SBS software to do their inferential statistics. You're going to want to do a step-by-step. It's usually about 5 to 10 steps maximum to let me know what kind of tests they ran, what kind of inferential statistics, whether it was t-test, ANOVA, whatever the case may be, or if they did thematic analysis, if it was a qualitative, whatever that looks like, you're going to describe the specific data analysis approaches to be used to address the research questions, and you're going to put it in a bullet list. So as we step back just for a minute, and as I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, but I will attach that template so you guys have it for when you're doing your assignments. When you're going through this class, what I want you to walk away with is the skill of being able to pull down any article or any dissertation from Google Scholar, from ProQuest, and be able to spot all 10 key points in the blink of an eye. So it's a skill that you have to very much develop, and you need to be purposeful with it. So this is the class that you practice that skill, but it's something that going forward, as you develop that skill, it's going to help you to be able to tell the difference between a 10 key points for a qualitative study, a 10 key points for a quantitative study, because the rules are going to be different. And that will help you when you start drafting your own 10 key points to kind of understand what those rules have to be. That if you're doing either a quant or qual, it's going to dictate what your data collection is going to look like. It's going to dictate what your data analysis or what your different, how your research questions are worded, or whether it's going to have a phenomenon or if it's going to have variables and hypothesis. So this is that class where you're first introduced to all of those different concepts, and you're going to have a lot of practice. So I want you to feel comfortable with the feedback that I'm going to give you. I am currently not only an instructor for this class, but several others throughout GCU's doctoral program, but I am also a dissertation chair for 15 students here at the university. And up until very recently, I was an administrator for the College of Doctoral Studies, reporting to the director of the Office of Dissertations. So you might see my face and my videos out there on the DC Net if you have a chance to go in there and grab some resources. But I really look forward to this class. Hopefully this introduction to the 10 key points was helpful. And do not hesitate to reach out to me in the individual forum or the questions to instructor. If you have any questions or you need further clarifications, that's what I'm here for. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight, and I will see you guys all in class.